It seems like AI is just everywhere these days.
Yeah, it really
Every
is.
time I open the news, it's another headline about AI.
Right.
Like ChatGPT writing a poem, or someone sold an AI-generated picture for thousands of dollars.
Uh-huh.
It's wild. And it really does feel like we're on the edge of something big.
Totally.
So today we're going to do a deep dive into one specific detail from the partnership between OpenAI and Microsoft.
Okay.
OpenAI, they created ChatGPT,
Right.
and they have this huge partnership with Microsoft.
Yes.
A deal worth billions of dollars, but buried in all the details of that deal
Yeah.
is this really interesting way of defining when AI becomes truly intelligent.
Yeah.
Or what we call artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
Exactly.
Now, most of us probably think of AGI in terms of like robots that are self-aware,
Yeah.
or computers writing symphonies, big sci-fi stuff. But this agreement kind of takes a different approach.
Yeah, you could say that.
So fill us in. What's the deal here?
Well, the agreement between OpenAI and Microsoft was signed back in January of 2023.
Okay. And it states that an AI will be considered AGI when it can generate $100 billion in profit.
Hold on, so it's not about passing some intelligence test or creating incredible art or anything like that. It's about cold, hard cash.
Pretty much.
That is a very different way of looking at it.
I know, right? It's definitely a fascinating shift away from those more traditional definitions of AGI.
Right.
Which usually talk about things like cognitive abilities that are like human-like,
Okay.
problem-solving skills,
Makes sense.
adaptability.
Makes sense.
So this commercially focused definition really does raise some interesting questions about how we measure intelligence, especially when it comes to AI.
Yeah, especially with AI getting more and more advanced all the time.
They're sure.
I mean, does this mean these companies might develop AI differently now?
Oh, absolutely.
Because if the ultimate goal is to make money, couldn't that affect the kind of AI they choose to create?
That's a great point.
Like, is it going to be all about maximizing profit now? Yeah, and this unusual definition is actually at the heart of some tension that's brewing in the OpenAI and Microsoft partnership.
Really?
Yeah, because once they hit that profit threshold...
You mean that $100 billion?
Yes, exactly. The agreement says that Microsoft loses its exclusive access to OpenAI's models and cloud services.
Wait, so you're telling me Microsoft invests billions of dollars helping OpenAI build this crazy, profitable AI,
Uh-huh.
and then they could just get cut out of the deal?
That's essentially what could happen.
That's wild.
I know, and according to reporting from The Information,
Okay.
OpenAI is kind of having second thoughts about this clause.
Yeah.
They're worried it might scare Microsoft off from investing more.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's almost like they're building a rocket ship together.
Okay.
And OpenAI accidentally put in a clause that ejects Microsoft once they reach orbit.
That's a great analogy.
So what's OpenAI going to do about it?
Yeah, are they just stuck with this agreement, or are they actually trying to change it?
Well, they're in the middle of renegotiations, apparently.
Okay. Really?
Yeah, and that is no easy task considering how much is at stake.
I bet.
And to even make this change happen, they might have to do something pretty drastic.
Like what?
Like maybe turning themselves from a nonprofit
Okay.
into a for-profit company?
Whoa. So a nonprofit creating a whole for-profit arm just to keep their tech giant partner happy.
It's possible.
These negotiations must be intense.
They are, and there are 4 main points that are reportedly causing the most friction in these discussions.
Okay.
And each one could totally change the future of this partnership.
Okay, so let's hear it. What are these 4 points?
Well, the first point has to do with ownership.
Okay.
Specifically, what would Microsoft's equity stake be in this new for-profit OpenAI?
So, like, how big of a piece of the pie does Microsoft get?
Exactly.
That makes sense, considering they've already pumped $13 billion into OpenAI.
Right.
They probably aren't just doing this out of the goodness of their heart.
Exactly. They want to see a return on their investment, which is completely normal in any business deal,
For sure.
especially one this big. Okay, so the second point focuses on Azure.
Azure.
That's Microsoft's cloud computing platform.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And right now, OpenAI relies entirely on Azure for all its cloud computing needs.
Got it. So is this point about whether OpenAI is forced to stick with Azure?
Yeah.
Or can they use other cloud providers?
Exactly. They might be trying to negotiate more freedom so they can use other cloud providers,
That makes sense.
especially as they grow and potentially need different cloud solutions.
Right. It's like being stuck with a phone plan that doesn't work for you anymore.
Right. Exactly.
You got to be able to switch things up.
Okay, so the third point gets to the heart of what OpenAI actually does.
Okay.
the AI models.
Right.
This negotiation point focuses on Microsoft's rights to any new models that OpenAI develops.
So we're not just talking about access. We're
Yeah.
talking about actual ownership of these brand new models.
Yep, that's a pretty big deal.
That's huge, especially with AI technology changing so fast.
Oh, absolutely. This is a major point of leverage for both sides. I can imagine. Right now, Microsoft gets huge benefits from being so closely tied to OpenAI's models.
Especially with ChatGPT.
Right, exactly. But if OpenAI gets more control over what happens to their models in the future,
Oh, okay.
that could really shift the balance of power in the whole partnership.
Wow, that is a big one.
It is. Okay, so to recap, we've got the equity stake,
Right.
cloud exclusivity,
Yeah.
and ownership of future models.
Yeah, it sounds like a high-stakes poker game with billions of dollars on the line
Right.
and the future of AI hanging in the balance.
Totally.
So what's the fourth and final point they're fighting over?
Well, this one brings us right back to that commercial definition of AGI we were talking about earlier.
Oh, you mean the whole $100 billion thing?
Yes. It all comes down to money.
Okay, nice.
Specifically, how much of OpenAI's revenue goes to Microsoft.
So how much are we talking here?
Right now, Microsoft gets 20%.
Whoa, 20%. That's a lot.
It is, and you can bet that's a major point of negotiation.
I bet they are.
OpenAI might be trying to get that percentage lowered.
That makes sense.
I mean, they're the ones creating these groundbreaking AI models.
Right.
It's fascinating to see how this whole $100 billion definition of AGI is affecting their entire partnership.
It really is. It shows you how the pursuit of scientific progress bumps up against the reality of business.
It really does.
And it makes you think about why we're even developing AI in the first place
Yeah,
and how those motivations might shape the future of this technology.
for sure.
It's definitely something to think about.
It is. It really does.
It's like, are we so focused on getting to that $100 billion mark that we forget to think about how we get there?
Yeah.
What are the consequences of putting profit above everything else?
That is the big question, isn't it?
It really is.
And it's one that we really need to think carefully about, especially with AI becoming more and more powerful.
Yeah, we can't just ignore the potential impact this technology could have.
Exactly.
We can't just sit back and watch it happen.
Right. We need to be involved in shaping the future of AI.
Exactly. And that's where these kinds of discussions are so important.
I agree.
By understanding these partnerships and what's driving AI development and the potential consequences of all of this, we can start to have more informed conversations about the future of AI.
Absolutely.
Well said. So we've done a pretty deep dive here into this definition of AGI
You have.
and explored what it means for the OpenAI-Microsoft partnership.
Yeah.
We've talked about the key points of their negotiations and thought about what could happen if we just focus on AI for profit.
Exactly.
But now we want to hear from you, our listeners.
Yes.
What do you think about this whole idea of defining AGI based on how much money it can make?
It's a big question.
Head over to our social media and let us know what you think.
We always love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep on diving deeper. It's a really interesting case study.
It is.
This simple definition of AGI as a money-making machine
Right.
has led to all these complex negotiations. It makes us think about some really big questions.
It does.
Like, are we missing something important here
Potentially.
by focusing only on the financial side of AGI? Like, what about the impact on society?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's something we really need to consider as AI gets more and more advanced.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that we can't just blindly accept new technology without thinking about the consequences.
I agree.
We need to be part of shaping the future of AI, not just watching it happen.
And that's where discussions like this are so valuable.
Totally.
By understanding these partnerships and what's motivating the development of AI,
Right.
we can have more informed and thoughtful conversations about where AI is headed.
Absolutely well said. So listeners, we've taken a deep dive into this unique definition of AGI
We have.
and how it's affecting the partnership between OpenAI and Microsoft.
Right.
We've uncovered the key points they're negotiating and talked about the potential downsides of focusing on AI solely for profit.
Sure.
Now we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this profit-driven approach to AGI?
Yeah, let us know.
Head over to our social media and share your perspectives with us.
We'd love to hear what you think.
Until next time, keep on diving deeper.